More news have surfaced around the Chicago Bulls and what took place during the NBA trade deadline for the Chicago Bulls. It is now being rumored that the Bulls refused a first round pick for Lonzo Ball. Was that the right decision? Y'all know we're going to talk about it and break it down, but of course, you got to hear the music first.
Cognac. Gang.
Shot Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on today's daily episode. If you're tuned in with me today, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well. If you missed it, I hope you didn't miss it. And then, hey, you might want to be happy that you missed it. The last 2 days for Chicago Bulls basketball has been horrible. Horrible. So we're going to talk about some other things that still surrounded our Chicago Bulls, but not in terms of what transpired on the floor the last few days. But hey, we are hearing some rumors that came from Darnell Mayberry while he was on the Bulls Central podcast. Shout out to them over there. And he kind of just alluded to and pretty much let some things go out to where, according to John Hollinger, the Bulls could have walked away with an extra draft pick at the deadline in a deal for Lonzo Ball. According to Mayberry, he said the Bulls had a firm offer to get a first-round pick and take on future money for Lonzo Ball and extended him instead. Good news, though, 12 of the Bulls players are signed for next season. They can just re-sign Josh Giddey, run it back, and chase the play-in again. Yay. End quote. So, look. This is one of those ones to where you like, are we surprised that the Chicago Bulls front office continues to do things that absolutely make no sense? Now, I ain't going to sit up here and act like I wasn't happy about the Lonzo Ball deal because I think it's a really good deal. I do. 2-year, $20 million with the team option on the back end. And I think it was a really good deal to have at that time. You know what I'm saying? Now, if a team was offering a second round pick, I'll be like, nah, I'd rather keep Lonzo Ball and, kind of move forward with it to say, hey, he can stick around. He can still potentially get traded next year. The deal is more favorable moving forward. I understand all of that. But I'm on the other side of this, y'all. I'm on the other side of it now that I'm hearing first round picks. And a lot of there's speculation. And me and the fellas, we talked about it on the live yesterday when we pretty much were just saying, hey, the pick is not going to be so good, or there's a potential that the pick won't be so good. You'd rather keep Lonzo Ball. And I don't necessarily disagree with that logic. I think there's some validity in that because depending on where the pick is coming from, it could be a first round pick that's later in the draft, right? But here's my thoughts on it. I would have rather had the first round pick. And that's not to go out there and say that Lonzo Ball is not a hell of a player. It's not to go out there and hate on Lonzo Ball. But for the point of us trying to see a better team, we got to do something different, bro. We've been running this same cycle for the last 4 years. Holding on to players, letting them walk out of the door without getting draft capital, or virtually just trading them away for no draft capital in the Alex Caruso and the Josh Giddey trade. So I would have executed the trade and allowed Lonzo Ball to potentially spread his wings elsewhere. So I can have a chance to potentially draft somebody that can bring me somebody. Now, I know there's going to be some pushback and say, hey, do you really trust the Bulls front office to make a good draft selection? And now, hey, I can't argue against that. But I give myself a chance by acquiring that first round pick to hope to put that hope out there that we get lucky again. We just got lucky with Montes Buzelis. It was like Montes Buzelis fell to the Chicago Bulls. It was a no-brainer draft selection. They could have absolutely screwed it up. But once you seen this prospect fall in your laps, most people would have been like, let's go. Now, he could have been an idiot and did something else. Or, you know what I'm saying, maybe took a Khalil Webb. That would have been, something that would have been interesting too. I think that would have been something interesting too. But I think that I would have given myself a greater chance to attack this draft with two young prospects. Because fishing through the G League, sometimes fishing on other people's teams, when they let people go or they trying to pull somebody from their G League squad, it's just the results are just not there for the Chicago Bulls, man. Carlik Jones, Marko Simonovic, EJ Liddell, Adama Sanogu, Justin Lewis. These are players that's been a part of our G League program. And, Justin Lewis had the injuries. But other than that, when other guys were available, or we could have, had some moments during certain parts of each season to see more of them, we didn't see them. That could have been due to them or the Bulls head coach. Could have been a combination of both as well. And that's the whole point. We're still running this cycle. So I would have given myself a chance to get lucky versus, and I'm looking at the history here. These are not opinions. These are facts. I'm looking at history when it comes to Lonzo Ball. Throughout his career, he has been injured numerous times throughout his entire career, even this season. Now, granted, it's not the same extremity, it's the lower leg versus the wrist this season. But this is a guy that hasn't played for me in 2 years, guys. 2 years. And I'm happy for him. Excited for him. Most guys would have just called it quits and went home and became speakers and, things like that, or whatever endeavor they would have had to pivot out of playing their sport and going to do something else. Lonzo Ball stood in the fight. He got knocked down a couple times. Then they hit the 10 count, but he kept fighting. You show love to that. I do. But at the end of the day, it's business. And he deserves to move on as well. Nikola Vucevic deserves to move on as well. You know what I mean? That's how I'm looking at it. We can't keep saying that we want changes to come and we are afraid to depart with certain players. At this point, like I said, I'm only biased to Ayo Dosunmu because he one of the Chicago kids that's actually hooping, you know what I'm saying, on the squad right now. Him and alongside Montes Buzelis. But if the Bulls was to come to me at this point where I'm looking at, and after getting our teeth kicked in on the first night of playing the Detroit Pistons and only scoring 29 points in a half, we can't keep doing the same. We can't keep running the same cycle. For me, I just wouldn't do it. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and say it was the absolutely worst decision. I'm just letting you know I would have took the pick. I think you should have took the pick. And even if there was a decision out there earlier or late in the trade talks, Vooch for a second, I would have took the pick. Give me we need opportunities to find talent. And it's not always going to have to come in trades. You know what I'm saying? The asset from a trade being players. We want our own opportunity to evaluate talent and see how we could put together a good team for the future. I think we need to have some longevity thinking right now. Because right now, if we looking at what I've been kind of referring to the entire time is how we look versus the Detroit Pistons, we going in the opposite direction, and they leapfrogged us. Look how quick the Orlando Magic just jumped right ahead of us too. You need draft capital. And Hey, if the Chicago Bulls would have to absorb some money, so be it. Like, what the hell? You think all teams, like, and that's what's frustrating with the Chicago Bulls at times, especially, you know what I'm saying, tuning in as much as I have to stay current with the squad. That's one thing that frustrates me. They want everybody to follow their demands, but they won't meet people halfway. And then when they do meet people halfway, that's when you want to follow. Like, what? Be firm in your decision making. Have better decision making. That's what they need, to have better decision making, because the moves, look, I can't go off on them anymore. It's just not there right now. But you got to be better. You have to be better, in my opinion. And Lonzo Ball, he's here now. That's the reality. Like, the reality is he's here now. Now, I still think that he will be able to provide something for the Chicago Bulls. But I also still think that once the next offseason rolls around, you still have to consider that option moving forward. And it's not, you don't want to continue to hold on to him. You know what I'm saying? Now, if he wants to stay here, cool, fine. But if right now we're in the mud, we're in the mud. So decisions have to be made. Obviously, they're waiting too long again to make said decisions, because Nikola Vucevic should have been gone. Zach should have been, once Zach was gone and shipped, Vooch should have been packing his bags right along with him to the next destination. Real talk. Real talk. And yet we are here again, holding on. We gotta let it go, y'all. We gotta let it go. We like a lot of these players, but I like them, and I'm a root for them. But they don't have to be Chicago Bull players for me to root for them. It's business, guys. It's business. Kobe White goes somewhere else and he shines. What the hell I'm gonna be a hater for? Ayo Dosunmu goes somewhere, becomes an all-star, or say a champion, even as a role player, I'm rooting for him. Y'all motherfuckers didn't stop rooting for Derrick Rose once he left. You didn't. So some of these players that you like, even Zach LaVine, who just left, I see people say I'm finna go watch the Sacramento Bulls. Y'all can still root for our young players, even if they find a new destination, because running the same cycle of constantly holding on, we not getting wins, y'all. We not. And we just got jumped over and leaped over by Detroit. Detroit has been bad for a long time, and we've been in the middle for a long time. Now we finna be bad for some time if the Bulls don't get their crap together. That's what it comes down to. But let me know how y'all feeling about that all down below. Those are my thoughts. Leave your thoughts in the comment box. Let's chop it up. Let's see where y'all head at with this one. I say the Bulls should have took the pick. Do you think the Bulls should have took the pick or continue with the signing? Just saying. The reality is Lonzo still here, but you can still voice your opinion about what transpired and what you would have done. Let me know, because I let you know mine. But that is it. Make sure y'all always see red. I appreciate y'all. Hit that like button and subscribe before you roll out of here. Peace, y'all.
Cognac. Gang.